Good evening, guys. Real quick one. So I was going through the book of First Samuel, and I read the part where David was going to go fight Goliath for the Israelites, right? And as he was about to go, Saul, gave him his helmet, his armor, and everything like that to go into the battle, right? And David indeed did take the I don't know what I'm going to call it now, the garments, right? But it was too heavy for him. He said, "This is not going to make me move fast. This is too heavy." And what did he do? He took them all off and he went with what he's been familiar with. So a lot of times, we have family members or loved ones that genuinely have our best interests at heart, just as Saul had for David. But we must also understand and be be careful of the armor of Saul, okay? Let's get used to a pattern, okay? Everybody should be able to notice the pattern that works for them based on what they have done before in the past. For example, if you're used to hearing from God, somebody may give you a good counsel from their own point of view. It may technically even, on papers be very good, but you would be able to decipher that, no, this is not my pattern. This is not how things have worked for me in the past. And by so doing, you have more vision or clarity to understanding that this just doesn't feel right, okay? It may sound right, but it may not be right for you. For example, somebody else could have worn Saul's armor and still have gone to the battle because maybe that's been a warrior that has always used such armors in the past. But David in the forest or in the bush when he was killing the lions and the bears and everything, he had never used that garment. So he knew what he was familiar with. He knew that a stone and a sling is what he had been using. So him wearing the garment on its own wouldn't have been a bad thing, but it wasn't from his own experience. That's not what he's used to. And this can go in anything in our lives generally. For example, you may just say, this is how you study, and somebody says, this is how I study. I read overnight with music. But from over time, you've known yourself so much that you know that you cannot read with music. You don't want to carry somebody's armor in dealing with your own life. What works for somebody else may not work for you. So you want to make sure that you are very careful. Most especially, it may come from people that we love, and that gives us it makes us sentimental about the attachment or the love we have for these people. Sometimes we don't want to upset them because we'll say, oh, how would they feel if I said no? But you got to know that everybody has their own race. David could have shyly just accepted because he didn't want to upset the king, but he was bold enough to say, no, I cannot use this, and he took it off and went with what he's been familiar with. So let everybody run their race. Let everybody do what is familiar. And you cannot be thinking of the relationship from where the source is coming from, where this love, so to speak, is coming from. You have to be able to respectfully decline or say, no, this is not what I'm used to, and do what we want to. Sometimes our parents are overprotective of us. They give us counsel. We know that this counsel is coming from a good place, but this is the Saul's armor. It's heavy. It won't let you run along. Sometimes our parents advise us based on their own personal trauma, and it may sound like, oh, this is making sense. But in reality, it's not what is going to work for you, and you can tell in your spirit. So I'm just going to advise you, once you feel that, please drop every armor of Saul this year. Run with what you're familiar with. Take your stone and your sling. It doesn't matter how small it may be. It doesn't matter how inconsequential it may be to anybody else. But you know what works for you. You know how you hear from God. This is the same way a prophet may come and tell you something about your future, but you already know what God has said. That's Saul armor. You have to tell them, no, this is not what God has told me. This is not how I run. Someone may come and tell you, oh, in your workplace, let's do this thing. Let's pass the faster route. Let's cheat. Let's do this. You should be able to stand up and say, no, that is Saul armor. It won't let me run far. Saul armor will come from different people, most especially those that we trust. And it's not like they're coming from a bad place. It's just not what is going to work for you. So please remember to do things that work for you this season. Drop off the Saul armor, go with your stones and your sling, and go conquer the world. My name is Ade, and I love you. Bye.